All right, we're going to do the train body here for the train unit. Let's start with the front. Right here, we're going to start with this shape. I'm going to go into Inventor, create a new sketch on one of these sides. Now, if you'll notice that if I draw it on the front of this plane, then it's going to be going back in this direction, just like the drawing. That's generally what I want, is it to be orientated the same way as the drawing is. That'll make your life a lot easier. We can change it later, but I'm just going to click on that plane to start. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take care of this base. So I have a little rectangle at the bottom. This rectangle has a width of 2 and a height of 0.875. I'll just make my rectangle. So 0.875 in height, width of 2. It would probably be better. I'm just going to delete this one because I've changed my mind. It'd probably be better if I choose the rectangle that's the 2-point center so that I can put it right in the middle here. And then I can say 2.875. That way that rectangle is centered on my origin point. It's not required, but a lot of times that'll make your life a little easier. Now, in addition to that rectangle, we also have a circle. And this is just an arc, so it gives us a radius. But I'm going to start it as a full circle. So back in Inventor, I'm going to choose the circle tool. I know it's up here somewhere. I know it's centered. This is where it's nice, because if I want to center something, I can just do it on this vertical line. I'm just going to draw a circle. I don't know much else about it yet. I do know that the radius of the arc is 0.75, which means if I drew a full circle, I'm looking for diameter, which in this case, I'll hit D for dimension. Dimension this, I'm going to do 0.75 times 2, or, as we like to say, 1.5. Now, I also have to center I have to decide where the circle is. That usually means 2 dimensions. It's from the center point of the circle to a side, and then the center to another side. Because this is in the middle, this is already an inch away from this side, but I do have to designate how far away it is from the center to the bottom of the train. And that number is, anybody want to give me that? Right here. So if I follow this line out, 1.375. Very good. Now I have the front of my train.
I don't suppose it would matter if you say you didn't put just a point on the side, you just click the bottom line.
No, you can never dimension a circle from the edge.
No, not on the circle and the rectangle. It's like if you click the point and instead of clicking this little point on the side of the triangle.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you click. It doesn't matter. As long as you get the right dimension. Now, while I'm also here, I'm going to trim this. I'm going to press X on my keyboard, and that's going to allow me to click on any line and remove it up until it intersects with another line, and now I have the complete shape. So I can finish this sketch, choose extrude, and I'm going to extrude it. Let's go the whole distance, which is 5.5. I'll do 5.5. Now I've got the body. I have to put in the wherever that is where the conductor lives. So I'm going to go around to the back, create a new sketch on the back here. Okay, so now I'm going to go around to the back. What do I know about the back? Not a lot. I have to come down to this next page. The top of this little base here is not just a flat surface, it's actually an arc. This arc has a radius of 2.35, and the center point of it is right here. So the center point's not even the bottom of the train. It's a point that's 0.375 away from that. So in the back here, I'm going to start by just setting that point. I'll put a point in the middle and dimension it 0.375 away from the bottom. That is going to be the center point of my arc. Now I want to put an arc that starts at that same center point that I just placed in. So I'm going to go to my arcs, and instead of that standard 3-point arc, I want to choose the center point arc. That lets me choose from a center point and then designate what I want. I'm going to click right there on the point that I've created. That's my center. And then I don't know how much I need. I'm just going to draw way too much. My first click is where the arc stops, or my second click. My third click is where the arc ends. And I'm going to draw a lot more than I need because it's easier to take away than it is to add. And then I'm going to dimension this. And because it's not a full circle, I'm getting radius. I can just put in the full number, which is 2.35. And that's just the number from here. And that's the height of the body there. All I have to do is draw some lines that are straight up to it. And that's the shape of the back. And I can press X on my keyboard to trim the parts I don't need. But that's the shape. Okay, now I'm going to finish the sketch again and extrude this. Now, notice that because I have a couple of different shapes, there's a couple of things I can click. I just want this top part, but it's going the wrong way. That's not great. To change the direction, I can click on this direction 2, and that'll have it go the other way. And the distance I want it to go back onto the train is, I don't know, let's see. It goes 1.75. Then I'll press F6 so I can get my nice isometric. I have basically the shape of it. Now all I have left are a bunch of holes to fill in. The first hole that I'm going to deal with is this, the window for the conductor so he doesn't run out of air. And this is just I'm not going to do a hole or anything. This is just a shape. So I'm going to click on the side here, create a new sketch.
Why does it click on the side?
Because I can't draw a hole from the back. Like this has some roundness to it, so I can't go in the back and extrude it, because all I can do is extrude back a square, basically. And so whenever you have geometry like that, you have to do it from the side you see that on. I'm going to do a circle. All I know about this circle is, right now, to start off with, it has a radius of 0.5, so its diameter is 1. The center point of that circle is 1/4 of an inch from the back. So if I hit D, from the center to the back should be 0.25. And it's also 1.75 from the bottom. So anytime you have a circle, there has to be 3 dimensions. The first one is its diameter or radius. And then I have to have 2 measurements from its center point. To one side, the vertical side, and then the horizontal side. If I have those 3, that circle is fully dimensioned. Now another thing I have is that instead of it curving back in as it drops, it's just a straight line across. To do that, I can just get out my line tool from the top of the circle. Just draw 2 straight lines from the top and the bottom of the circle. Now I can press X and trim away the bits that I don't want. I'm going to draw an extra line just to help Inventor know what part I actually want to cut out. And now I have a shape that I can extrude with a cut. So I'm going to extrude this, change it to cut, put a big number in so it goes all the way through. And now I have that shape. Okay, next thing that you'll need to know. I'm going to do 2 more of these I'm going to do these ones with you that are on the side because they're unique, and this one on the top. And then your challenge is to figure out how to do these front ones. And there's also a hole in the back, which is where the linkage peg goes. But let's start with these side holes. Now I have a hole that has a weird specification. It's 1/4 20 UNC. That lets me know that it's a tapped hole. That means it has a thread on it. So I'm going to come here to this sketch, and I can't just, for the most part, I can't just make a hole with a cut extrusion anymore. I can't just draw a circle and cut it out because that doesn't give me a lot of control. What I want to do instead is set points. So I'm going to set a point here, and another one straight across here, and then I'm going to dimension them. So the first one's 1 inch away from the back. The second one is 4.5 inches away from the back. And they're both 1/2 inch from the base of the train. Once I have those, I can finish the sketch and choose hole, and it's going to find both of those. Now the things about this hole, when it says that UNC, that's down here, this little option called tapped hole. When I click on that, I'll get a whole world of things to choose from. So you've got 0.25 in size as the default, and this designation is the same as on the paper, 1/4, 20 UNC. A couple of things I do have to change. I don't know why, but by default, the thread doesn't go all the way through. That's what full depth does. I'm going to check mark full depth. And in this case, the holes don't travel all the way through. They only go in 0.875. So instead of it being a through all termination, I'll change the distance to 0.875. And when I click OK, you can see there's a 2-dimensional thread on that hole. Yep. Done. So now you'll have to do those same holes on the other side. You could do a mirror. It might be faster just to do it. Let me double check here. So to use the mirror, we lucked out in this case because one of our work planes perfectly bisects the train. So what I can do is choose my mirror here in the patterns. With this one, I say I want this hole. That's my feature. The mirror plane is going to be this origin plane. And then when I click OK, it's going to mirror it about that plane on this side. And that'll give you the same hole on both sides. If you do it the mirror method, what you'll have to do is it creates a work plane based off of that origin. You'll have to click on mirror, click on occurrence, and turn the visibility of that work plane off if you don't want it always there. But you can also just come over here, draw a new 2D sketch, make those holes again on the other side, whatever works the best for you. So our last problem is that we have a hole here. This is where the smokestack's going to go. But I can't just click on a round surface and draw a sketch. If I try to, it doesn't know what I want. And so I have to create a work plane. It's not too difficult if I have another plane that exists that's facing the same way. So this plane is actually horizontal. That's what I want up here at the top of this. Well, the way I do that is I click on work plane. I click on a surface that's facing the same direction as what I want. And then I click on the round thing that I want to put the plane on. And you'll see that it's putting it in a couple of different places depending on where my mouse is. I want it right there, so when I click, it's automatically going to make a tangent work plane at the top of that round surface that's facing the same way as the place I originally clicked. Once you have a work plane, you can click on the edge of it and draw on that instead. And so now I have a place I can set. I'm going to put it in a point. That point's going to be right in the center. And then how far away is it from the front? 0.875. So I'm going to click on the front of the train, click on my point, and say that it's 0.875 away. Choose my hole. Sometimes it's facing the wrong direction. So with this hole, it's just a regular one again. So I need to turn off tapped hole. What do I know about it? It's got a diameter of 0.5 and a depth of 0.25. So the depth is 0.25, the diameter is 0.5. Unless otherwise specified, it has the angle drill point, which it does. Sometimes you'll find that these are facing the wrong way, especially when you draw a hole on a work plane. If it's up like this, like out into space, then you can just click this little button right here, and that changes the direction it goes. And when I click OK now, I've just drilled a hole into a round surface. I can right-click on the work plane and turn off visibility. Okay, let me do this again. So the last part of this is pretty straightforward. Once again, to make a work plane invisible, you right-click on it over here in the browser. Just click on visibility. There are 3 holes in the front that you're going to do the same method for, and 1 in the back. And then the last thing that you need to do, once you've got those holes, and I'd probably wait until then, is that we are told down here that all edges have a fillet on them of 0.1, except for drilled holes. So I'm going to come to my fillet, change the radius of that to 0.1, and basically, I might not even do the base either. I might just do anything that's not a drilled hole, I'm going to round. And filleting is a really fast way of making something look like you actually worked really hard on it, because it just makes things look nice. So I'm just going to, and I might apply it, and that way I don't accidentally click on the wrong one. But I can just come in through here and fillet. And it's up to you what you want to fillet or not to fillet, or even if you don't want to at all, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm just going to fill it all the way around here. Whoops. It's not going to let me fillet that one because of my decisions. I clicked on the wrong ones first. But that'll be a nice way of kind of finishing the piece. Let me turn off that work plane again. And so once you've got those holes finished in the front and the back, and the ones that we've done together, then this is done. You can color it in however you want and call that train body, save it in the train folder.